Hi, this is Greg in Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to take a look at the Creality CR-10 from a wargaming perspective. GearBest reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked if I would like to review one of their printers. I asked if I could review one of the larger format printers, as it applies a little bit more to tabletop wargaming than a very small format, bed-size format printer. They said, sure, we'd send you the Creality CR-10. So what they did is they sent me the original Creality CR-10, and today is just going to be a first look because I've only had the printer up and running about 4 or 5 days. So I have a few basic prints on the board, one awesome looking print right here in the center that we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I just wanted to get this on the board and give a look at it from a perspective of tabletop wargaming and at a price point that may not be at the high end of the budget scale for people. So this is not the most expensive printer. It's not the cheapest printer either, but I got some great discount codes that you can see down in the show notes and links to the products on GearBest site. So if it's something you're thinking about with the holidays coming up, maybe a nice time to jump on. Because I can tell you right now, when I finished printing this today, I waited 41 hours for that piece to finish. I was blown away with how this thing looked. And I've dropped a picture on Twitter, and it's getting really good feedback and stuff like that. But let me go ahead and talk about the printer. Like I said, this is the base model Creality CR-10. So you're looking at 300 by 300 by 400 print volume. It's a single Z lead screw on the back. That's one of the big differences between the CR-10 and the CR-10S. The CR-10S has the dual lead screw. I did, when I found out I was getting the regular printer, I did go out, and you can find these are all over the place now on Amazon, and I picked up the dual lead screw kit. It was less than $70. I think it was like 64, 65, I don't know. I know it was less than 70 with Prime shipping. So they're in stock on Amazon, and at some point I'll put the second lead screw on. But for right now, for the basis of the first look and for the basis of the review video, which will be in 3 weeks, I think I'm shooting for November 19th on that one, I'm going to leave it just like it is, stock, with just a couple 3D printed parts that I put on. And speaking of 3D printed parts, this printer has very few, if none, 3D printed parts on it anymore. That's one of the things I talk about in a little unboxing segment was parts that were originally 3D printed have been replaced by aluminum and injection molded parts. So the belt tensioner up front on here is now a metal part. The injection molded fan duct right here is now injection molded instead of 3D printed. This piece up here for the Z-axis lead screw is, and I'll have pictures of this in the unboxing too, is injection molded plastic. So they've taken things that they've put onto CR-10S and they've rolled it back to this printer also, with the exception of the main board that goes into power supply. That's still the same one, but it can drive the second lead screw on there. So I thought that was really good. The strain relief already comes on the back. That is something that I had printed and anticipating that I would need to put that on the printer. And so that's, it's this piece right here, and it's a two-piece, part. And in the unboxing segment of the video, you'll see where they basically asked to use this design and incorporate it and injection molded it, and it is now on the printer. So, and I also printed some bed leveling knobs down here. So you see these giant knobs. These are a must. It makes it so easy to level the bed, and there'll be links down in the show notes to it. So let me go to the unboxing real quick. It's 5 minutes on the video, and then we'll come back. I'm going to pull some of these prints off and talk about them and show them to you. So I had the printer delivered to me at work, and it was dropped off by DHL in the afternoon. And I really knew I wasn't going to get a chance to look at it over the weekend. I was going to visit my daughter out of town. So I loaded it in the car, brought it to the house, set it on the game table, and just left it there for the weekend. But it does come double boxed. I had no damage on the boxes on here, and this is actually the internal box with the banding straps removed. Just another picture with my flash on. You got the white foam on top of the box, and this is how it looks inside the box. So this foam is pretty rigid. It's not quite as rigid as the black foam that came on the Maker Gear printers, but it is rigid. I had no damage. I had no shifting. I had no bent parts or anything like that inside the box. I checked out the extruder mount over here to look, because when I took the cover off, I noticed a couple things right off the bat. after watching a few videos that this one had some upgrades backfit onto it now. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Just another picture from the inside of the box. And then this is the next level of the box right here. This is going to be your power supply. This is going to be, you got your tape, your tools, and the other piece of the machine. The machine comes in 2 pieces. So basically you're just screwing some like 8 bolts together from underneath. You're putting a couple clamps on the sides and calling it good. And it took less than 20 minutes to put it together. Had some filament stuck to the side of my hot end on here, but I'm assuming it was tested before it left. And when I started it up for my first print, I had no issues at all. There was some black filament in the extruder itself. Looking right here, I was just making sure everything was straight. It looked good. I checked the bolts and they were tight. The glass I noticed, because I watched another video that somebody got a CR-10 enlarged, and he talked about some of the differences between the original CR-10 and what he was seeing on his machine. And this is one right here. You've got the rounded glass. I think the original CR-10s came with straight corner glass, and so this glass is thick. It is perfectly flat, and I had no issues at all with this glass. So you're getting the upgraded glass right there. This piece right down here at the bottom that's holding your travel belt, this used to be a 3D printed piece, and so that's been changed. So that's an aluminum piece now on there also. Give you a better look at it, sits in there, makes it rigid. So this was another upgrade that was put back onto the existing base model. This I'll talk about too when I'm showing the printer, that this was a design by somebody on Thingiverse, and I think they asked if they could use that design, and so they made this an injection mold and they added it to the printer. So this is something I printed out ahead of time, thinking that I was going to need this strain relief back here so I wouldn't wear on the cables. But it was already installed on the printer. It had the zip tie on it. It was good to go. Again, the extruder. And this piece right here, I had 3D printed out a new duct fan to go, a new ducting piece to go underneath this radial fan. And this is now an injection molded non-3D printed piece also. So didn't need that either. Blurry picture. Just showing some of the stepper motors. And here's the Bowden extruder on there, and I did print, and I'll show you this piece, but the filament guide, there's always been an issue where your filament would come through and it would rub on this rail right here, and it would start to get chewed up, and then going into the tube can cause hangs, jams, and things like that. So I printed a piece, and if you look at where my mouse is, it clicks right onto here. It guides the filament in. It also holds one of the cables. This is the top. I think this originally used to be a 3D printed piece also. So this is holding your Z-rod, steady up here on the top, and this again is all injection molded piece. This right here I think was a big one on the early models. This micro SD slot wasn't completely filled up like it is now. It was a slot and your card could fall in it. The Wanhao i3 that I had forever ago was notorious for this, that your micro SD card could fall inside the case. So this is another upgrade that was put in. So this blocks off, and I've had no problems at all putting the SD card in there. And just showing you the front of the power supply and the control panel and your instructions. And just some of the stuff that was in the box. You got the filament. I didn't use this filament. I went right to my Maker Geeks filament for my test prints and stuff like that. Your power cord, your USB adapter. This is your little spare parts on here. So it's got a new, where the Bowden tube clicks in, it's got an extra print nozzle. And then this bag over here on the left is the only bag you need to put this together. That's why I said it took about 20 minutes. You got some tools, you got some flush cutters. I always love getting flush cutters. So this is with the base, put on with just a heated bed. On there, everything looked good. I adjusted the concentric nuts down here to make sure they all had the same amount of tightness. This absolutely is something that you need to print, and there will be links to this down in the show notes. These are just oversized bed adjustment knobs on here, because the knobs that come on the printer are really small. So there are 2 types out there, some that take a lock washer, the other ones just snap on to the ones that come on the printer already. And this is a huge thing. I like to adjust my bed level. Once I adjust with a feeler gauge first, and then I will do, on this I did kind of a larger just test print around, and I adjust it on the fly, and it makes it so much easier that while it's printing, that you can just hit these wheels right here and raise and lower the bed, you know, just little 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch steps at a time until you're seeing that first level like you want. And then that's just more of a close-up on. You just take the one on that they have off and you just press it into here. It's a tremendous fit. So whoever designed these, thank you very much. I'll definitely have a link to their Thingiverse page where you can see that, and again another shot of the two of them. And then that's a War Machine monster, so we'll ignore that. So that's the quick unboxing. So the unboxing part out of the way, I mean, it's your typical unboxing. It arrived fine. There was no damage. All the parts were in there. Everything went together super smooth. 20 minutes. If you looked at this printer before, there are tons of videos where they've done live unboxings of this. I just want to get to the meat of what we're looking at here. Again, this is an initial impression. So, you know, so the very first thing, and yeah, I don't really like these, but it was quick, it was late at night, and I just needed something to kind of gauge where I was with the printer and the print quality coming off it. So the first thing I printed was the Benchy, and I did nothing. All I did is load up my simple 3D profile, which I used Uncle Jesse's original profile, and I looked through it, and there's some stuff from using the Anycubic i3 that I wanted to incorporate onto this printer right off the bat. And so if you can see, there's no stringing, there's no drooping, I mean, it looked great, you know, so we're done with the Benchy. You know, and then if you see my Maker Gear M3 initial impressions video, this is more indicative of what I like to use as my Benchy, an actual piece of gaming terrain that you're going to see on this channel. So this was the legitimate very first print. And so if you look at this, and if you look at the sides at this printer, this is from Warlayer. This is Andrew Askadal. He made this model. This was part of the Warlayer Kickstarter campaign. I'll put a link to his website, because if you haven't seen this container or the other two containers I'm going to show you, there'll be links there where you can see them. So if you look at this, is absolutely tremendous. This is Maker Geek's Woohoo Blue, I think is the name of the filament. I'll put a link to the filament I used in the show notes also. PLA. I print at 225C with a 60-degree bed, and it came out absolutely great. The only thing I changed after I printed this out is, if you look at the top, you see it's just a little bit spotty right there. I forgot to move my initial top layers from 3 to 6 like I normally print, and that's now a non-issue anymore. So that was the first print. I was super excited for that. It took about 7 hours. The printer is not the fastest printer. It's not the slowest printer either. I have two Maker Gears, so they print much faster. But in the end, all I want is when the print job finishes, I have what I expect to see, or what I want to see on the print bed. And that's exactly what I have here. The next thing I decided to print out, I wanted to make sure my retraction settings were okay. And so I grabbed, again, this is from Andrew's Warlayer series, and this is a containment crate. So you could drop an animal or something in there or something like that. It's for sci-fi wargaming, or really any type of gaming if you need a prop for a table or something like that. But so what I was looking for on here was any drop strings, how is the bridging gonna look? And this, there is no touch up on this. None. There's no drooping, there's no missed anything. This, from my perspective, is as textbook as I want to see every print on every printer I own come off looking just like this right here. I love the way this turned out. Again, Maker Geek's filament. I've kind of switched over to using that. I do use eSun also, but I've been having a really good time with the Maker Geek's filament, and they got killer prices on it too. So that's the second piece I printed out. The third piece is this is like a nuclear power reactor. So I know I had some swoops and stuff in there, you know, that are around the top that can be a little hard to print. And again, this printer knocked it right out of the park. Everything here is printed at 150 micron. I'm printing at 50 millimeters a second, I believe is what my profile was set up at. So, and I just start to print and walk away. And that's exactly what I want to do on all the printers I own too, is be able to start to print and walk away and not worry every 20 minutes if something going on with the printer that I need to go check it. And that's exactly the experience I've gotten so far out of this. So this is about 75 hours of printing. Super happy with how this came out. The third piece, the fourth piece that I printed is this right here. So this is from printablescenery.com. And so I'm going to put this on the camera over here really quick. This is the original piece. When you buy the STL, or if you were part of the Kickstarter campaign, this is exactly what it looks like when it comes off. And that's great. I play 40K. My figs are a little bit bigger. So this is like a Tyrannid. You know, this is one of the creatures from the game on there. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, I want to try and blow it up. And I got a big printer. I want to put a big print on it. So I took this and blew it up 250%. And that's what you got right here. This is a 250% scaled print of the plasma tower. And I'm telling you, this thing is beautiful. Even my wife, I got printers going all the time here, came by and looked at this and was stunned at how good this looked. And I'm going to see if I can, yep, so it's ready to come off the bed. 41 hours and some change, and here it is. This is Maker Geek's filament. This is the Urban Fossil filament, and I will put some pictures closer as I'm talking here so you can see this. Urban Fossil, 41 hours. No issues at all with it printing. I mean, this is the type of terrain piece I want to have on my table. And so I took a picture of this and I put it out, but I had one of the Primaris Marines next to it. And I want to put the original right here also. That's on the, that shows you the scale difference between these. So this is really good. I really like how this came out. I mean, this is just a stunning piece. So I just wanted to give my initial impressions on here. So far, everything that's happened, I'm loving the prints that are coming off this printer. I've got some great codes on this printer. I also got a code for the CR-10S. And if you're looking for a little bit smaller format printer, if you go back to my Megamod video, I talk about the Anycubic i3, and there's also a coupon code in the show notes of that video. But for the money, right now, with the discounts and the holidays coming up, if you're looking to get yourself a 3D printer, for the price, I'm blown away. I really am blown away. The Anycubic i3 is a really good printer also, but this Creality CR-10 with the print size that I'm getting on this bed, you know, basically 12 by 12 by 16 inches, and I believe this is just shy of 14 inches tall right now. This is tremendous. I mean, this is the type of terrain I want on my game tables. Big centerpiece looking pieces like this. So I want to thank GearBest. There'll be links in the show notes. There'll be links to the printer. The coupon codes will be next to it. There'll be links to some 3D printable parts. I'll have links to the Maker Gear filament. I'll have links to printable scenery. So if you don't have this piece and you want this piece, if you already own a CR-10 and want to print this for your game table, I'll put a link to printable scenery where you can purchase that and check out their other stuff. And I'll also have a link to Anders' site at Warlayer where you can check out his store, because if you don't, you know, if you want to check out what he's got to offer also in the terms of STL files that you can print yourself too. So I'd like to thank GearBest. Maybe we'll get some other printers from them here on the channel, but I'm just trying to give you a look at it from a tabletop gamer's perspective. The full review is going to have a whole bunch of terrain, because as soon as I hit stop on this camera, I'm going to take this back out to the other room, get it plugged up, and get it printing. And then so we can hit that 3-week mark and have a nice tabletop full of stuff coming down. So there'll be some more Warlayer stuff. There'll definitely be more printable scenery stuff. I'm going to try and get some of the terrain for print from Marcus in there too. And I'm just going to pick some more general stuff to print out that I think you guys might like to see and get it on the thing. So the printer out of the box, I've had no issues at all in the first 70 hours. don't really expect to have any issues in 70 hours, but I would like to put about another 400 hours on this printer before the main review. So I think I can do that pretty easy, especially blowing up some of these huge large prints like this. And I can show you what can it do. I can show you what it can do. If you're new here, if you haven't seen this channel before, kind of do tabletop wargaming, entertainment stuff, not your engineering type stuff, but so that's what I do. I put out the terrain that designers make and show it to you. So this will just be another asset to the channel, and the full review will come back, and I'll actually come back and do the full review. I won't say I'm going to do an unboxing and then just never come back on there. So you know, and as I continue to use it, I will let you know which prints come off which printer in here. So you know, so this is all off the Creality CR-10. I've already talked about the Anycubic a little bit, and the maker gears just keep on churning out terrain. So look forward to seeing you in the next video, and it's really a fantastic deal. So check it out. All the links in the show note. See you in the next video. Thanks.